Alrighty, everybody, we're back building the Warhammer Necron Ghost Ark. This little guy here, this guy, yeah, that guy right there from Warhammer, the Ark. It's for 12 and up. Can I do it? I don't know. We're gonna find out by checking out this question. So let's go ahead and get a little bit of stuff in here. I don't have everything going on, so we got to get rid of this. We got to get rid of that. We'll make this a little bit smaller, and we don't even have our light on. And forgive me, I'm in my tank top. So what we're going to end up doing is we're going to be taking a look at our Ghost Ark. We're going to be doing a little bit on that. I don't think we'll be able to knock this out all in one show. So with that said, what we're going to do is we're going to pop on over here, and I need to make some adjustments. So we'll kind of do this, and we can move this so it's kind of like that, and we'll get kind of a side view. If I can get this, if I can back this up so it looks a little bit, so we can get a little bit in view of what's going on from like a side view. So the main view is going to be from the top. So I need to play with a little bit here and there. And we'll kind of do that. I think we'll just kind of split the difference, and we'll just kind of do that because we're at like a -4. So we got a little bit going on. So we'll try doing the top-down view and see how that works out. So that way you get a little bit of a side view. You get a little bit of mostly the top view. So this will kind of see how this ends up going. Okay, so let's go ahead and pop on over here, and we'll get our tablet going and pull up our YouTube, and we'll get the channel. We'll go ahead and pull that up, and let's see how much of that. Of course, that's going to be a little rough, but that is our Ghost Ark. So yeah, this is going to be quite the thing, because there's two different versions of this. We've got the first one here, where it ends up, it's a troop carrier. You can end up carrying 10 infantry guys, basically, is what we see there. So it's kind of got these spires and kind of enclose all those guys. And then it has one where it's like this, where these things are facing down and they have the weapon. I don't know if I like that, because then you can't do the troop transport. So this is the Doomsday Ark. So in other words, it's just the gun, and or you're going to get just the troop carrier. But I ended up actually seeing a, let me see, can I put this up on something so it takes that glare off of there? Yeah, I think we can do that. But I did run across something, and I wanted to show you a picture, so I'm going to flash a picture on the screen if I've got it. That's the other thing. Is it in the downloads? Did I leave it in the downloads? I'm not sure. I don't think so. Maybe it's in the pictures. So let me pull out my pictures. And no, we don't have that. Where is it? It's basically where somebody ended up taking, let me move this guy out of the way here, that little ugly guy there. Basically, it ended up to where, maybe it's the desktop. Did I leave it on the desktop? Where a guy made it to where it was like the troop transport, the one on the top, but then it also had the gun on the bottom, but it was still a troop transport. So I don't think that would be a big deal, because if you don't use the gun in the game, I'm imagining, I haven't played a game yet, but I imagine if you just say, hey, it's a troop transport, we're not using the gun, the other players would be like, yeah, okay, no big deal. Let me see if I can find that. And where did I think I saw that on Reddit, if I'm not mistaken. So let me see if I can, GHO Ghost Ark. Dun 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 dun. And it was a picture. So it was the Ghost Ark build. Here it is. Why not both? So here, and let me take a screen capture of this, and so that way we can see what's going on here. So this is just a picture from the Reddit. You can tell I'm old because I call it the Reddit. So anyway, here it is, this right up here, and it shows the Ghost Ark as being a troop carrier, which it is, and it also has the gun on the bottom. So in other words, you can kind of switch back and forth. I don't like the fact that you just have an either or type of thing, where it's either a transport or you have the gun. I'm not really interested in doing magnets, because I don't think you could put magnets on this. It would be way too many magnets to be able to transform it from a troop carrier down to the Ghost Ark with the gun. So you're either going to do one or the other, but I like the fact that this right here, this guy ended up doing both. So that's what I want to end up doing. And I don't think, where I'm at, the game store I'm at, I don't think people would care. As long as you differentiate between the two, I don't think anybody would really care. So let's get back to the table and see how that goes. And the comments on the Reddit was dreaded Ghost Day Ark. You crazy son of a bitch. He did it. I would like to know as well, how did you do that? Share some tips. He replied in another post how he did it. It's honestly easy. Where did he do that? Somebody else picked it up. Welcome, the most terrible painting experience in history of the hobby. Good luck. I can kind of figure that. But if you take this and separate the gun from it, that would make it a little bit easier. Another guy down, I put some magnets on mine so I could put the cannon on and off, but the ribs of the Ark are always facing up. But then I didn't like it, so I bought two. So, okay, well, who cares? Blah, 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 blah. Let me see, what else do we got going on? And, so in other words, something about connecting the Ghost Ark to the top instead of the, well, assembling the Ghost Ark connects to this bottom ring. Don't do that, connect it to the top one instead. So that way you'll end up being able, because apparently from what we can see in the picture on this top, kind of like right up in there, there's a ring to where you could put on this assembly here. And then down here, as we see, there's another ring where you put the gun on there. So basically what it's telling you to do is to, for the carrier configuration, use the top ring, so that way you can do this, and that'll leave the bottom ring so that you can put the gun on the bottom and get the picture that we ended up seeing. So that makes a lot of sense. I think that works. So we'll see what we can end up doing. And we'll probably have to get some crazy, crazy magnets. I'm not sure how he mounted the thing all together, but I think we're a little bit of ways from being able to do that. So before I started filming, I cut the tape on this. So this is going to be the first look Aww. And there it is, the Ghost Ark in all its glory. And that's a pretty thick book, if you look at that. It's got guns. It has the main gun. So the Ghost Ark has, it says +8, Ghost Ark 4 to 7, 1 to 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 guns, and then that one there, which is, okay, whatever. Look at all the plastic. Behold the plastic that we have. So there's the big gun that we got there. Looks like we got some characters in here as well. Oh yeah, we do. We at least got that guy, but it looks like we got some character pieces in here. Interesting. We got some legs, and we got some torsos. We got some crossed little arms and backs. So we got that. Where can I put this? I'll stack that up over there. And then we have the other side, which is kind of the same thing. It almost looks like a duplicate. So we got one side versus the other. Okay, so we got that. And then we've got this one, which we flip this over. Ooh, look at that. So we got the kind of piece that we end up there, which is like that. So that's the huge back piece. That's not too bad. We got some little bit of chest pieces. We got some other stuff. We got a couple of arms. We got some legs. I don't see any heads. I didn't notice any heads. Do we have any heads? We got chest with crossed arms. Okay, I think we got some heads. Yep, we've got heads here. So right on those. So that's good to go. And then we got the base with a couple of different, we only got one hole. Obviously, I'm going to make a different base so that it will match all my other Necrons, because I have custom bases for those that I 3D printed. And then this base is approximately 58. Looks like it's about 58, 59. So that's what we got there. We'll just kind of put that up top so we don't lose there. And then we have the little stickers. So those can come in handy. So kind of put those over in the back here. And that's all we have for the box. So yeah, we're gonna end up doing like some custom bases. This is like a tomb blade, and we kind of got some custom bases there. What else do we got? And those are just the tomb blades. Oh, here's one. You can kind of take a look at this guy. It's a better representation of, this is an Overlord that we're doing. And we can see the custom base that we did on that. So we'll do something like that. This one's just a little bit, a bit bigger than the base. So I had to I'll have to resize the other ones, but you know, who cares? That was my Overlord. So I think that will go well. That will go well. And I also had magnets. So that's kind of cool. So let's jump into this. Oh my gosh. This has got that. Build variants. Okay. So this kind of reminds me of the little Tomb Blade action, which we kind of end up seeing. That doesn't look too bad. We got big parts here, so we got some small stuff, but not too bad. And then you have the two different variants. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So obviously we got 10 guys that it can transport. And that's for the Ghost Ark. So the Ghost Ark is that guy right there. And then the Doomsday Ark has the gun. Both of them have the guns, the smaller guns on the side. But I think we'll do what that guy did, and boom. It'll be good. So that doesn't look too bad. I say this now. Let's see. So we can kind of remove some glare off of there. So put the two pieces together. We got that, more pieces. You got some guys in between the pieces, and then more guys and more pieces, and sandwich them in. And then you got the guns on there. I'm wondering if the guns rotate. Nope, it doesn't look like the guns rotate. It just looks like they stick on there. That would be neat if the guns could track forward or whatever. So that's not too bad. And this is what he was talking about here. So on this piece here, obviously if you're doing this, you're going to connect, you're going to cap this off, and you're going to put this towards the bottom on that bottom ring. But what the guy was saying was basically instead of using the bottom ring, take this assembly here and stick it on the top ring, and then you can put the gun on the bottom ring, which I think that's what I'll do. And, okay, that doesn't look too bad, honestly, folks. That is, and then it goes through on how to do it, you know, the old way. In the same way, because basically it's the same thing. And again, you've got the two rings, and you'd flip this over so it's like this. We'll go on that one, and then the gun will be on the bottom. So we're just going to keep the gun on the bottom and have the troop carrier on the top. So that way we could have the gun, have our cake and eat it too. So, and then we've got all those guys we need to paint, which will be interesting. And we're looking at some colors as far as like, so it looks like black, looks like we got some brushed on dry brush silver, looks like we got some blue edge highlighting on there. Of course, we got the orbs and all that stuff. Some gray, metallic, black on those. You know, the little bronzish type of thing. So I think this will work. So let's get into it. Off we go to the races. So let's go ahead and I'll put this off to the side. And we're going to need 42 and 41. And if we look on here, this is 42, this is 41. And we'll just get knee deep into this. Boom, boom, boom. So we'll give this a shot. And this is kind of like therapy for me. For those of you who don't know, I was in the military. By the way, my name is Steve, and I am retired here in Korea. So I did a little bit of overseas retirement action. And besides going to the gym to work out my demons, I also do these models and everything. Are we getting a good view of this? I think so. And the YouTube stuff gives me something to do. So that's a little thing. Keep my mind active. And one of these days I'm going to get some products to review. I'm just going to keep making videos. Eventually somebody will give me some good stuff to review. And we'll do honest reviews. And carefully. And right there. Boom. We're good. So now I'll do a little bit of good where I'm at. I think I'm good. I permanently borrowed the wife's little emery boards. So we got that going on. And then the inside portion, I need to get some more of these so I can get some like smaller pieces. And so I can kind of I guess I could cut some strips out. Or I can find some type of, maybe some type of round file to get into like these curved spaces. Or I can just make a thin board on these, or I could just trim them with an X-Acto knife. And we'll see what happens. Good on that. So I'm still in the process of building and painting. And once I get a decent size amount, I'll actually try to learn how to play. But I'm an old dog, so kind of teaching me some new tricks will be interesting when learning this game. So now the question is, do these glue or do they snap in? So that is the question. And obviously we're going to need glue. So the good thing is I've got some Tamiya paint, or thin cement glue. Yeah, Wilson, get the names right. So we'll just kind of throw some on there, some on there, a little bit there, some of the holes. There. We'll just kind of spread this stuff around. Let's see how this goes. And let's see how this goes. Snap these together, and boom. So I have to hold that. You know what I need? Potato chip holders. Ah, that works good. That works good. And we can drive on. So as that's drying, and I think we're good, probably want to do a little bit. We'll let that dry to make sure that we got any holes. And we can go back and kind of clean that up as well. So let's see how this goes down. I need to clean that off a little bit, but I just want to make sure that we get these cracks and crevices all tight. And we should be good to go. So potato chip clips work pretty well. The other pieces we need is 51, which is this piece right here. And 32. Dun, 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 27, there's 32. Like so. So not bad. This model isn't bad so far. Not too bad. I don't think I need to worry about that piece. Little piece there. I think we're good. So now, take those off. The chip clips work well. Uh-oh. But the glue needs help. So apparently, we need some more attention to the glue. More gluing. And it's weird because some of this stuff is press fit. And then other stuff, you need glue, and it kind of sort of press fits. And then you have some Warhammer models to where they're just straight up ugly and they're hard to glue, period. So, yeah, it is what it is. But I want to make sure. Let's kind of reinforce this a little bit. We can do that, and we can do that. So we can make sure we get all of these together. I'd rather have too much than not enough. Excuse me. Okay. So now we've got this piece here, which is going to marry up. See, this is what I was talking about. So like you have this piece here that is supposed to go into these places here. They marry up like that. There's no holes in these things. And this just kind of sits. So you got to glue it and hold it. And then this other piece goes up top here, which this one isn't too bad because that kind of slides in there or goes in there like that. Which that's not too bad. That's pretty easy. This one is going to be a bear because it's just, there's no like hole or receptacle or whatever. But this one's not going to be too bad. So we'll just put some glue there. We'll put a bunch of glue there. And some extra glue there. And then we will hurry and maybe drop the piece. Seriously. Come on, Wilson. And we will hold that there. So we got that. We're good to go on that. Which isn't too bad. Can we get a focus there? Yeah. But now this piece is going to be the bear. Because that's supposed to go like that. And just hang off into space. And if we look at the, I don't know, can we look at the picture? Let's see kind of what we got going on there. So we kind of see where it's gonna, I don't know, we can't really see in these pictures. But these are going to connect to the guy that's sitting up in this area. So I guess we just kind of throw some glue on there and just try to make it work. Just hold it and glue it and pray for the best. Let's see if we can just prep some of this. Maybe that'll... And then we will put a little dab of Dia. Make sure we've got this orientated correctly. I'll just kind of hold that on there. Ah, damn it. And again, it would be so nice to have holes. That would be nice to have holes, but we don't. So can we put a little bit on there? Thank you, Games Workshop, for making something that, yeah, put these pieces together, something that would, you know, I don't know, you might want a hole for the thing to go into, but we're not going to make a hole. It's just going to make it flat. And at least it's a little bendy. So we could at least bend it. And I think we'll be all right. So, but it's still, damn it, seriously? Games Workshop, you're pissing me off. We might have to just kind of hold this on here. And then we'll get some real super glue. And try to line it up. Like that. And we're going to get some real super glue. So that way, and then we'll do a little bit of activator spray and we'll be good to go. So we don't have to jack around with this BS. So we'll get some real glue. Just put a little dab on that there. And put a little dab on, that's probably a little bit much. Just want a little bit. Like that, so we should be good to go. So now, since we got the glue on there, and then we'll get our activator spray, which is this stuff here, which is fantastic. So we'll just do a little squirt. And that will solidify. We get a little bit hazy, but now that'll be good. So you can see how it got a little hazy on there. Maybe a little spritz. Another spritz, and you can see how it's a little cloudy on there. We are good to go. Perfect. So that's for those problem areas. So now that we got those pieces done, 30 is going to go on this piece right here. So let's take a look at 30 and see if we can find that. And that is, there's 23, kind of a roundish, there it is right there. Little thing in the center. Dun, 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 dun. And for those of you who are wondering, it's 6:30 in the evening here in Korea. I live next to a U.S. military base. And I'm retired military, so the cool thing is I get to go onto the military base. And because I was in the military, it kind of feels like home. I think we're good on this. Hey, we got George's back. Hey! George says it's 4:30 in the morning there. Well, good morning to you. And where is this going to go? That just kind of goes there. Is that what I'm led to believe? Take a look at the directions. It just kind of sits in there, level. Yep, we can see that it's level, so we'll do that. And again, there's nothing stopping it, putting it into place. It's just you could push it down below, which might cause some problems. So it's got to be level. So again, thank you Games Workshop for making something like this. And we will load this up. And we'll get that on there, and then we'll put some on here as well to kind of prepare these. And we will throw this on here. get these to where they're level. I guess a good way of doing that would be like that. And we're good. But because I'm nervous, I'll just put a little bit more on there. And then we'll do some on the other side. Oops, that's a lot. Okay. Seriously? And the pieces don't totally fit together perfectly. But I think it's close enough for government work. So I think we're good on that. So now we got some side pieces, 31 and 28. So there's 31. And then we look for 28, which is kind of a, there it is, 28. Kind of reminds me of the, that's kind of a similar piece that you would see on the tomb blades that I did. It looks almost exactly like that. This little piece here. And where is it? Tomb blade, where is it? So yeah, kind of similar to this little piece here or that piece there. So there's a little tomb blade guy that I'm working on. So yeah, a little similar. I think we're good to go on that. And now, let's see, that needs a little bit of shaving. I don't think I need to worry about that. That was just in case, a little rub. And so now this goes up into that there, like so. Let's see. Kind of looks like an engineer's cockpit from Alien. Yeah. Yeah, Roussel Alexandre. Hey, friends, what is up? We're just putting together a Ghost Ark. So we're kind of having some fun doing that. And we'll let this sit a little bit. And we'll throw that on there, like so. So we're good to go on that. Yeah, it does kind of look like the aliens thing. And now we've got, what is that, 29 and 27. So that's 29. You got to remember this is for ages 12 and up, so this is going to be a challenge for me. So that one. And then the other piece, 27, is that one right there. And there we go. Okay, we'll do a little bit of good to go. Good enough for government work. Now we'll do the same thing on this side. And this is going to go there, and that's going to be facing up. Just put a little glue on there. And there. And that will go like that. We're good to go. And then now these pieces are going to go together, apparently. To kind of go snap together and go on that little thing that we put on there in that center. So like how? Okay. Yep. Get back on there. And it would be nice if there was some press fit little things, but okay. So I do have a little corner there, but we're gonna need some glue. And some of these bigger pieces, and then of course around there. And we'll just put a little bit more. I'll kind of do the same thing on this edge as well. If I can hold on to these small ass pieces. I'll just paint that in real quick. And put that together. Like so. I'll hold these together. I wonder if this will do our little potato chip clip trick thing. George says Games Workshop can't make it easy on you. Yeah, that's true. The most expensive plastic on the planet. That is for sure. But it gives me something to do, so if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. So I'll let that dry a little bit, and then that is supposedly going to sit inside of that thing. So kind of like that. I think we're good. And this piece here is going to marry up with that piece. I just want to test fit. Like so. So that's what that is going to look like. So let's get our glue on. And we'll just kind of soak this up. So that way that'll activate. And we'll just put some on there. And now just kind of swing that in, and we'll be good to go. I want to make sure that I get this set in there, and so that way it is pretty much square. Looks like it's a tiny bit off, but there we go. George says you can't take that Google searches, and instruction videos are easy to find on YouTube, but people can't seem to do those. Could be. And it's funny how people will get on forums and ask questions, and it's like you didn't even take 5 seconds to Google it or use Chat GPT or Grok or, any of those things, and you'd find the answer probably like pretty quickly. So I'm just kind of amazed that people don't do that. But they'll go onto Reddit and they'll ask, and basically you can tell when somebody cuts and pastes a Grok answer or Chat GPT answer to answer those people. So it's like, I don't know. I just want to make sure I get this glued in really good. there we're doing all right. Alrighty. On to the next page, where we have more parts. So now we start getting into the place where we are putting guys in here into his chair. So now we're getting the feet, the footrest, and the legs in there. Then will come the torso, and then the head, some other small parts. So it's not too bad. The whole knowledge of the world in the palm of your hands, and people are dumber than ever. Yeah, I can see that. There's some pretty academically challenged people out there. That's for sure. So, let's see. Now we're going to need 45. So we're going to need some legs on this bad boy. Lieutenant Dan ain't got no legs. But I'm going to give him some legs. Right here. But you know, the cool thing about being retired is, you know, we did our work. I did my work. I ground it out. And I was able to retire. There's no guarantee that you can retire. I mean, I lost a fortune. And I need to get another one of these. But I was able to retire, thank God. And so, but there's so many people out there that want their best life now, and they don't even think about retirement. And the sad thing is they don't work enough to get enough for Social Security. And they're just happy being ignorant. So I don't know. Should always learn. So now we've got this piece here, which marries up with that right there. So we've got this little half circle thing here on this side, as you can see there, and that is going to marry up with this piece right there. Like so. And he just, so the legs just sit there, but look at how much play there is. And do the legs just sit there? Or are they going to glue onto something? So you just do this, you just glue this in place, and then you do the torso. Well, why wouldn't you do the whole body together? You know what I mean? Because there's no like slots or anything, or pegs and holes in the seat to kind of make sure that this is where it's supposed to be. And you've got so much, you got a little bit of wiggle room in there. And so do you just eyeball it? I'm wondering. Let's take a look at these pieces here. 48 and 50 and 46. So the 46 is the hips. 48 and 50 is the torso. So there is 48, there's 50. So let's see if we should put this thing together first, or if it's going to make a difference. Because I've heard people complain about building this, but so far I haven't noticed anything horrible. It's just like little stuff. It's like, yeah, no big deal. It's a little pain, little alignment issues. Kind of eyeball it. but it's, you know, nothing that I would get up in arms or rage quit or anything. It's just like, I've seen worse. And what was the other piece? 46. Need some hips. Throw his hips into it. 46. There's 47. There's 46. Right down at the bottom. So we got this little piece is going to be his hips and torso. I don't think this is a big deal though. But I do want to see how... Oh, okay. So we got some little small nubs there. Little pegs that stick out, so that's nice. And I was going to shave those off. I'm glad I didn't. And we'll just do a little bit of clean up on that side. So that way we're good to go on that. And then a little bit of cleanup on this side. And we also have some pegs there that you can see that are sticking out on the top there, on the left and the right. And these go together. No, those aren't. It looks like I got to cut those off. These pieces here. As I'm looking at it, I was excited there. I was like, oh, they put a post in a hole, and it doesn't. I think it just, I cut it the wrong way. So I need to cut those things off. Like so. I'll file those down. I'll do the same thing here. Because there is no corresponding hole. Now we'll put these together and see if we can get this. So yeah, those little pegs on there weren't really pegs at all. So, I wonder if I can sand that a little bit more so I can get rid of that. That gap. because we still got a little bit of material on there. And the same thing on this. Okay, that goes together. Yeah, we got a little bit of... It's just fun. George says, dun, 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 I was taught patience is a virtue. Never sacrifice your future for short-term glory. And you should see a master grade Bismarck model kit. The secondaries would drive you nuts. No, thank you. I would not. I can imagine though, I've seen some of those shipbuilding kits and holy crap, they are pretty impressive. They are impressive, and I think I took off too much material on those. As you can see that there, but everything else lines up. So that was my bad. So we can do something. We can do, I think I got some milliput or something, and kind of put that on there and fill that up. We could even get some super glue and do that. But now, and so that is supposed to go together, but there's no like slot. This just kind of goes in there, and if you look at this pelvis section, there's nothing here that is gonna marry up with the legs. So I guess you just kind of set that there. It's just going to set in there and touch, and that's going to be it. There's no holes. There's a small indentation in there that you can see where that is supposed to go, but it's not like something that snaps in or anything. So I guess that's the way it works. It'll just go with this little rounded area here. So we'll just throw a little bit of glue on there. And we'll go to this thing and we'll put a little glue on this. And we'll take our legs and put them in like that. And yeah. Looks pretty good. Just kind of help that out there a little bit. And let's see if we can. Do a little bit extra in there. Do the same thing on this other side. Don't drop it. Put that like that. Lieutenant Dan has got legs. Dun, dun, dun. There's that glue you make by dissolving the excess plastic that might help. Actually, that's this stuff here. So people have taken this Tamiya extra thin cement, and then they'll take the sprues, this leftover plastic, they'll cut it into a bunch of small parts and they'll put it inside this bottle. And then it'll eventually liquefy into like a paste so that you can do exactly that. So, boom. Now this talks about just throwing your... But you can't just throw the hips in there like that, because then you gotta put that in there. Seriously. Or maybe you can. You just glue it. Yeah, sprue goo. That's it. Yeah. That's it. So I guess you just kind of throw that in there. And just hopefully it glues. And then, but we also have these two things here that are supposed to connect up to the back, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we've got those two holes that are supposed to marry up with these two things there. So you would do that. And then you gotta do that. So I think what I'm going to end up doing is I'll take this and I'll just put some glue in there, hold it for a little bit so it's still a little malleable, a little flexible, and then we can put them in the seat. So let's throw some glue on there. Glue on that head. Just kind of hold that together a little bit so we get a little bit of adhesion. And then what we could end up doing is we could throw some glue on there and on that side and on that side, and then we'll just a little bit of glue in there, and then we'll throw this in here. We'll see if we can't get those two things in the back to line up like that. And boom, we got it. So yeah, that wasn't too bad. We'll just have to, since I want this to be good, we will just kind of fill that void to wherever the legs end up touching the seat. And then we could kind of go down in here, throw some on his thighs. On there. Do the same thing on there. Boom. And we should be good to go. I'll try to line that up. And I think we're good. It's a little off. But that's because this piece in the back is a little, it kind of goes over to this side. So I'm wondering where that's going to connect to. Does that even show that? No, that just kind of... That little piece just kind of hangs out in space above his head. So if we can kind of see that. Not too bad. Okay. I think we're good. Sarah's here, says hi. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. We're doing the Ghost Ark. We're seeing what we can end up getting with this. So now that we did that, we're going to move on and do some other little pieces like his head, which is 49, and then 38 goes on top. So it's time to get ahead. And what was that other piece? Dun, 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 38. 20, 35. There's 38 right there. And then his head. His head is 49, and that's going to be kind of small. Right there. Holy crow. That is like super tiny. That thing right there. That's it, 49. Holy crow. Why wouldn't you just have that on the torso itself? I don't get it. Oh well. It is what it is. We're good to go, maybe. And 38 is going to marry up. Hey, look at it. It actually has a hole and a post. Wonders never cease. Guess Games Workshop threw us a bone. So we'll go ahead and we'll load that thing up. And we'll put some glue on this baby. Just glue it all up. Nice. That was so nice of them to do that. Good, good. George says, it's a trap. That's a trap. That's a trap. And now this thing is like, seriously? Really? That is a piece that's going to go in his neck. Really? Where? And then there's a head that goes on this. Seriously? You're going to put that inside the neck portion, and then the head is going to go on this. People are crazy. All right, let's find his head. And his head is 47. You're right. You're right, George. It was a trap. It got you all excited. It's like, oh, look how easy this piece is. And then they're like, nope. And there's the head right there. Kind of like in the military when I was in. It's like if you ended up getting a real good meal, it was like, oh, that's going to be some bad news. So this is his head, which is like so. You can see that. I mean, that's a good looking head. But that tiny ass piece that his head is supposed to go on? Really? Here, have some steak and lobster. Yeah, whenever you get some good meals in the military, it's like, yeah, you're in trouble. I mean, sometimes we get meals like when we're just about to go home. But then there was a couple times where it was like, we had a real great meal and it's like, oh, by the way, we're staying. You know, a little extra time, and you're like, crap. Seriously, though? Can't you just put the head in like that? No? How does this little piece even go in there? That is just insane. There's no way. Where's my pointer? So that tiny ass piece right there is supposed to go in there. And it's like, it looks like the widest part is at the bottom, so it kind of triangles up. But that goes inside so that it ends up like that. And then the head goes on top of that. Seriously? You gotta be kidding me. That is gonna be insane. And then there's like, there's nothing in there. That is like an indentation or an impression of this small piece to go in there. Let me get my geek glasses on. My master geek glasses. And we'll see if we can't say anything. You had to find whoever designed this and ask who hurt you. Yes. And why are you taking it out on me? So, yeah, there's basically nothing in there. And even on the and the orientation is kind of like that. Seriously? Really? It flipped and it's somewhere on the floor. Really? Really? That's what we're doing? So somewhere is a small ass piece. Is that it? Yeah, there it is. Good Lord. Seriously. Geek glasses. And we're going to have to sand that. And it's supposed to sit like that. I don't know how well you can see that, but it's kind of like you got two jugular veins, one on the left and one on the right, and that's how it's supposed to sit. But there's nothing inside of this. It kind of says, oh, this is where this is going to go. So I guess you just wing it. And why couldn't you just put this on the head itself? You know, would it hurt you to kind of add the piece like that, Games Workshop? And then on the back of the head, you just see it's just a ball. So it's going to sit in there anyway, but good Lord. Okay, let's see what we can do. Obviously, we're going to need some glue. And then we need to get this small ass piece. Oh, there is a tiny little slot. Holy crow. It is super tiny. Let's see if we can get a, if that's going to focus or not. I don't think we're going to be able to get that to focus because it's just too small. Maybe if I cup my hands together and pray, maybe like that. Yeah, you can kind of see it there. So it kind of, that's how that's supposed to go. So you kind of, and there's barely an indentation on each side for that to fit in there. Holy crap, that is crazy. Let me pour in some more glue so that way we can make sure that that is going to be set in there. Last thing I want to try to do is put the head in there and then that piece fall over. And we'll put man, that was just a bugger of a place to and it just sits on top of there, the head. Now I need to make sure. So yeah, I can go ahead and put the head on there. It's a couple steps ahead. Dun dun dun. Did you get it? A couple steps ahead. But we'll go ahead and put the head on there. And we'll just put a little bit of glue on there, like so. And we'll see if we can do our tiny, tiny tweezers. And see if we can't, seriously, or maybe not get our tiny, tiny tweezers. Maybe we just set it on there. And there's no indentation on that either. It's like they don't do you any favors. I guess we will just do that, and we will hope for the best. I think we're good on that. That was crazy. And I think what we'll end up doing is we'll take some more of this and we'll just drop it inside there so it'll kind of soak down into that, because the last thing I want to do is drop this and have the head roll off with his head. So I'll just kind of throw that in there. Getting some glue on the other armor, but screw it. And we'll just throw some on the back of the head as well, so it'll just kind of trickle down. The trickle down economics, except with the paint thinner, the paint cement. Ah, dun dun dun. A rough divorce. They lost everything, including the dog. I'm talking about the guy that made the model. He's taking it out on everybody. So now we can get back to some of this stuff that we missed. This stuff here, because the head was in this step. And we'll do the arms later, so we'll catch up on this. So we've got 30, 33, 34, and 35. That'll make that thing up, and then 37 and 36. So 3, 4, and 5. So there's 33. And should be good to go. Boop. So that was 33. Then we need 34, which are these pieces here. So we have 34 and 35. So this is 34. And we will put the 34 down here. And then we'll have the 35. Put that there. So that way we can keep track of all this stuff. Okay. So now that is going to go like that. 34. And that is going to go like so. So that actually, it did us a favor and actually got that to go where it should go. And it actually kind of fits snug. Games Workshop, congratulations. That means there's going to be something horrible coming down the road. There. Again, we'll make sure that we've got this in the right orientation, like so. And boom. There it is. And then we can do the other side. Ooh, that's a lot of glue. That's okay. Better too much than not enough. So we've got that piece there. And we got a buttload of glue on there. So we're good on that. So we'll set that aside, and then we're going to take 36 and 37, which is dun 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 36 and 37. We're getting some empty sprues here, but we've got 2 more entire sprues left to go. So there's 36. That'll go on this side. And 37. I'm going to have to get some dinner. It's about 7:30. It is late. So we might have to come to a stopping place. Okay. We go there. Okay, and now these are going to marry up on these pieces here somehow, like so, is what it looks like that, because we have the picture down here. It kind of shows that. So I think we're going to go on that side. And then let's double check. And that one will go on this side. Like that. Like that. Now the question is, how and where does that other little piece go? That other piece is going to go on the top. So these will go together like so. And then this is going to go here onto that. So again, they're not doing us any favors. So it goes in there and it doesn't, there's not like a big snap hole or anything. It just, you're just kind of setting it in there and wing it. Okay, thank you, Games Workshop. I think what we'll end up doing, let's just go ahead and get these side pieces on here. And again, we'll double check. Yeah. So we could just throw some glue on there, like so. And get that prepped and ready to go. I'll get this prepped. Put that like so. And we should be good. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. Slap some glue in there and all along the face. And then we'll put that on there. And we're good. So that turns out good. And what I'll end up doing is putting a little bit, as I have been known to do, we'll just put another little bit there. Kind of those seams. Like so. And then I'll just put a little bit on here as well. And we're good to go. And now, get that little tiny piece. And I think once we end up doing that, we'll do a few more pieces on this. We'll do this step so we finish up this page, and then on the next video we'll do that there. So that way we end on a correct page. But this has got to go so that is going right there. If you can see that. Kind of like right in that slot. So, which I think what I want to do is I want to make sure that this is flat. not flat, but I just want to get that little bit of edge that was off of there. So something was sticking out on there. So now go ahead and we will take this, do a little bit of glue in there. As you see, it's got a hole in there, or a kind of indentation on there. So we want that. That's good. And then on the bottom of this, that's what we want. And this is going to be facing this way. Seriously? Like that. And I think we're good to go. And how that's supposed to look. And again, as I've been known to do in the past, I'll put a little bit more glue. As is my custom, we shall load up on the glue. We still got a few more pieces. That's right, we're going to finish up that page. So, look at that. We've got a little holder. Now we can go here. So we've got 12, 10, so 7, 8, 9, 10, and 12. Yeah, nothing like going in order, skipping a number. So 7, 8, 9, which is what? Let's try 12. Dun, dun. There's 13. Here's 12. Okay. Oh, that's why. I was like, I don't see a piece like that. Or is this 12? Yeah, that's 12. So 12 is this one. This is 13. Okay. So we'll get this. We got her 12, so that'll go like that. And then we've got 7, 8, and 9, which we've got 10. Oh no, that's 11. Here's 10. So at least we got that one. So there's our 10. Then we got those weird ones, 7, 8, and 9. I don't see 7, 8, or 9. Not on this. So maybe they're telling us to go to another. And what are we looking for? We're kind of looking for these things here. Uh, 22, 5, blah, 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 blah. I don't think it's on this sprue. Is it on this one? Shapes and colors, shapes and colors. Here we are. I think we found them. These. So there's, oops. So 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so that was on a different sprue. So yeah, that's these pieces here that you're looking at here on these down here. So that's on this different sprue. Okay. Crisis averted again. So we'll start with this. Seems like a heavier sprue. Definitely heavier. And what number was that? This was 9. So 9 we'll put there. We'll kind of follow the same. If you want to kind of put your pieces on the paper, so that way you can kind of make some sense of it, or just have it off to the side. So you could go like that, and that way you can keep track of your parts. So that was 9. And we'll do 8, which is this one here. And then the 7. And that little buddy right there. Boom. Alrighty. So now let's do a little bit of sanding. Probably good enough for government work. Hold on. And, I'm running out of emery on my emery board here. Ghost Ark build. We're getting there. Yeah, this is going to take a little while. So we'll finish this one up so I can go get some food. And and then I can get another emery board. I think I got another one here somewhere. Because I went to Daiso and I picked some up, or picked one up. And we're good to go. Okay. Oop. And there it is. Okay. So now we got this piece here that we're going to end up doing. So we'll put that there. And then the other ones should go. And will this... Did they do us favors? Yes, it actually fits in the thing because it actually has a lip on there. So they did us a favor. Games Workshop threw us a bone. Thank you. So now we can end up doing this. And just slap on a little bit of glue on there. Take some glue and put some in there. Get that prepped. Shapes and colors. Boom. There we go on that. Now you do these pieces that will marry up and go into these, like so. It's a little fugly. I think we'll be okay with that. I think once we get primer on there, it should be good to go. So the orientation of this is like that, and that'll fit in there, and we should be good. So we'll throw some glue in there. And we'll do the same thing. Put some glue on these edges like so. And we will go like that. And it will fit, and it will be good. So we got that going on. And as is my custom, we'll add more glue to seep into those crevasses. So that way, we won't have any things falling off, which I have seen at the GameStop or the game store, where people have moved items, dropped items, and yeah, it ended up that things came off of their models. So I don't want to have that problem. So we'll prep that. We'll prep these like so. And again, that will go like so. So we're good to go. And you know the deal. I'm going to press and make sure that that holds. just make sure. I can put some on this other one. And then the last one. We'll prep that. We'll prep this. And that will go like so. I'll hold that on there. And we don't really got a super tight fit on there. There we go. I want a good amount of glue on that bad boy. I'll do the same thing on this side as well. Get into there. And we should be good. So we've got that assembly going. And then this is supposed to go on the side of this. Somehow. Oh, okay. So it's this piece. So this hole right there will marry up with this peg here. I thought it was going to go on there. I was like, wait a second, it's not working. So that will, oops. So that way we have this piece up like that. And it will look like that. And there's no other holes. That's the only other hole. Is just that one there. You think they would have something on this one too, but they don't. So I'll just fill that up. And we'll make sure we get out that. I'll do the same thing here. We'll paint this bad boy up. And we'll marry these two pieces. By the power vested in me, by the blood god, we are good. And we'll just throw a little bit more. Like so. So that way it gets deep in there. Because deep is good. Going deep is good. And since we got that little crevasse, I'll just add some there. And I think we'll just do a little dab there. And we should be good. So there it is. We have the piece. Did pretty good. You know, we could do the other side. Let's do the other side, and then we'll, that way it'll be balanced. Because this won't take too long with this other side. I think we'll be good. So let's just go ahead and we'll drive on. We'll do the other piece. We'll put it on the other side, and then we'll end up doing is on the next video, we'll start from here down. So we know that we'll need this piece here. So we'll cut this one out quickly. Because we know how that goes. So that'll go there. And then we get that little piece there. Our little buddy just hanging out by himself. Don't worry, we got you. We're gonna hook you up. So that will go there. And then we got to go back to this other one. Nope, wasn't this one. It was these. Ding, ding, ding. Let's just double check and make sure. Same thing, 7, 8, 9. All of that is good to go. So we will cut these guys free. And I'll do that. So that's the small one. And the next one in line. And that. And that. And then the big boy. The biggins. Like so. That, and we're good. So we'll do a little sanding real quick here. You know what? We'll do a little bit of cutting. And maybe that will always cut away from yourself. Don't ask me how I know that. As I try to cut towards myself. Don't do what I do. Unless you're just doing little tiny movements like that. That's like an advanced cutting. That one isn't too bad. We'll just cut these out a little bit. There's my blue one. There's another ugly one. Okay, a little bit of sanding. I'm not too worried about that because that's going to go on the little cover is going to go on that. But I have found in my limited experience that a little bit of sanding on places that you need to glue seems to work a little bit better. So I think we're good to go. And I just need to do a little sanding on these guys real quick. Good enough for government work. Alrighty. Go ahead and prep this. Prep. Prep. And this piece. Gonna load that up a little bit. Shapes and colors go together. Boom. Very good. We can see there. And now, go ahead, we got our smaller one that'll go there, and then we work our way up. So, let's go ahead and we will put some on those edges. Throw a bunch up there. And then a couple on the edges there. This piece is going to go like so, like that. And we're good to go. So that little nub is going to go out. And as is my custom, we'll add more glue. Hold that there. Should be good to go. Move on. Again, we're going to make sure this little pointy tip goes there. Hold it in. And we are good. Again, a little bit of extra. I'll kind of throw some on the bottom, even though I can see the glue in there. It's still a little wet, but a little extra never hurt. And then I'll do this last one. And the same thing. Go around the outside, around the outside. And again, we want that. And hold that in, and we're good. And I'll just add a little bit extra on there, so it soaks in there. And that's pretty wet down to the bottom, so I don't think we need any more. So now, kind of like what we did on this side, we have that hole, and that will marry up with this plug. So let's go ahead and fill the hole. So I want to get that prepped real nice. And then I'll make sure that that is facing up, so it's kind of like the other one. Like so. So I got those two pieces there, and we're good. So we got that going on. And then we'll throw a little bit more glue in that hole. Let that seep down in there. Get some good sticky goodness. And then the same thing, we'll just put a little bit more there. I'll throw a little bit more on that other one. And we are good. So there, oh, we forgot arms. I forgot arms on him. That was one of the things that was on that other, because he's going to be reaching towards, yeah, we got to do arms, because that was in that past, that's going to be too heavy. We got to do the arms. We forgot the arms. How dare I? See? The two arms. 52. Oh, seriously? Seriously? Really? You're going to have me put... So you got one arm, but then you're going to have two parts for this arm. You guys are bastards. Okay. So we got 53 and 54. Seriously. And this one is 52. So you got 52, which is a good arm, which makes total sense. Which is, you know, he's got a little pointy finger. He's going, hey, you know, look over there. And he's going to point to the other arm. That's 53, which is this one right here, that is like, hey, you got to put these other ones together because it's just BS. Oh, so we got that one. And then was the other one? 54. 54. We can make an arm like this, but we can't put that piece and the other small piece together as one piece. And everybody's looking for the one piece. And if you got that reference, anime reference, you get a gold star for the day. Oh my gosh, the DDA, such a nightmare to build. It's just like, really? You can't put those two pieces together when you've got an arm like that? Really? You're going to make me glue these two pieces? You make me mad. Okay, and I'm going to do a little bit of sanding. Tiny, well, actually not too much. That's not bad. And that is going to be, so this is going to be pointing, kind of like what we see there. He's kind of pointing with his hand out. So as long as he's pointing out in the direction. Hey, we got Learn to Play. Says, I built one, hated it. So many tiny bits and the ribs of the hull are a joke. There's only been a couple of things. Of course, if you've built one, then you know what I'm talking about. Like when we get to the head and the neck that you had to put down in the torso, that was insanely small. And then, of course, your hips and the legs just kind of go in there, and the hips, it's just, and then there's no like solid slot or peg or hole or anything like that. It's just like, come on, guys, seriously. And now the thing with the arms. So, yep. So, we'll end up doing that. I thought we were done. We're almost done with this video. We're just going to glue the crap out of this. It's the same on the Triarch Stalker with the cockpit. I haven't done that one. I did 3D print a heavy construct, though. And this we will end up doing like so. So that way he's kind of pointing and saying, hey, yeah, this is kind of a pain in the butt. And we'll add a little bit of extra glue in there. So, fill the crevasse with glue. But now, we're going to play with this tiny thing here. That's 100. This one. We got Swedish Forges back. Hey! Well, good luck with the bill. Learn, train, and play. Thank you very much. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate that. From somebody who's built one of these, I'm glad that you could do it. Give me some encouragement. Man, this is so... Yeah, you couldn't just put this together. I mean, it's minor complaining. But this, it's got to go like that. Nope. Seriously? Really? Does that go like that? spoke too soon. Let me see if I can gain some wisdom. So on that right there, so that goes in, this is going down, and this is going to be at like a 45-degree angle, so that we end up with like that right there. Okay, so that helps a little bit, and his hand is kind of sticking out like that. Okay, stop hitting the camera. So this is going to go down. Like so, and then this seriously, yeah, y'all couldn't just okay, there's a little slot in there. Okay, I see what they did. So if you can see right here, see if we can get this to clear up. There is indeed a little slot right there that runs this way. And then you do have a little slot that marries up with that is going to go, if we can end up seeing, it'll kind of go like that. So it's not, but I do need the geek glasses, the magnifiers. I'll just soak that bastard full of glue. And we'll put some glue on this one too. Get that prepped and ready to go. And again, we'll try to orientate that to where that is supposed to go. And that is at a 90-degree. And so we got it. Holy crow. So there. I'm dropping my magnifying glasses. So that is how that is supposed to go. Like that. Which is crazy. I have to clean those. No biggie. And now we can go ahead and put this onto him, and his other hand is kind of resting on the console. So we can end up doing, kind of load that up with some glue, and then we'll just do a little bit of extra glue on there, and then we'll put some glue on that piece. And then now we can go ahead and we can take this and we can put it in that hole. And we will play around with our tweezers because, yeah, seriously. Like so. And to where it's resting on the console. Does that make sense? I think it does. And think I want his elbow a little bit out if I can. I think that's going to be about as good as that's going to get. I think that's okay. That'll be doable. So, I just wish the elbow would push out a little bit more to that way. So maybe seriously. Yeah, I think that's going to be it. It's just going to be what it is. So, yeah. It's almost like his elbow's kind of like sitting too far. I think I would have preferred it to be pushed out a little bit. Kind of like if I can hold that and rotate that out. Damn it. Son of a... I'll just do more glue. And then maybe I can just kind of do this. And kind of hold it out. See how I'm holding it out a little bit? That's what I wanted. And so that way it's kind of more, it's like he's pressing the button there. That's what I wanted to get. Or he's getting the button pressed on there. Or he's going to press the button. So that's what I wanted right there. Cool. Alrighty. And we'll throw a little bit extra glue in there. And we will do a little dab inside of there. And I think I'll put a tiny bit of glue on his fingers. Like that. So we'll be good to go. So there it is. I think we've done enough for today. It's like 8:30, almost 8:30 at night here in Korea. And I think we've got enough going on to where he is good to go. So yeah, I think he's good. I think we're good on that. And can we put him on his little stand? I think we can, and we're good. Caps on the glue. Got everything else, we're good. And yeah, I think we are gonna call this. Because I need food. I got some Cajun chicken that is waiting for me. Cajun chicken salad. So, yeah, there it is. So we got our little tomb barge hoozy guy that is getting done and drying. I think we did a decent job on that. Definitely got, I don't know, is it a big chunk? Probably not. It's just, we still got the whole other thing, the guns and the big, huge, giant cannon thing that we got going on. So yeah, it's going to take a little bit. So yeah, building the Necron Ghost Ark. As we can see there, yeah, kind of sitting and doing its own thing. It could be a thing. Okay, so that's going to be it for today. Everybody that's watching, thank you very much. I appreciate that. If you could do me a favor, we only got 1 like on this video. So if 4 or 5 of you could hit the like button on this video, I would really appreciate that. And we'll continue on and do other stuff. If you could also do me a favor, since you're going to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let me know. That would be awesome as well. And yeah, we've got Learn, Train, Play. Says good luck with the build. Swedish Forge says good job, Steve. Yeah, we didn't do too bad. And we're going to keep continuing on doing different models. So for those of you who know, I've got my Necron Combat Patrol. I also got a kill team that I added that we're doing. And then I just recently 3D printed this out, the Heavy Construct. Yeah, off my Creality K2 Plus, that this was picture to model using Maker World Maker Lab, Whoosy thing. And yeah, this took like about 30 hours to build, to print, and then we had to remove a ton of supports. But we're also printing out another one to see how that's coming out. And that has got another 15 hours and 51 minutes. And what we could end up doing, I think, can we do a new share shape screen overlay? And that is currently being printed, and we'll kind of do a little thing like this to show you the progress that we have on that. So let's go ahead and we'll make that all big and large. Do a little bit of cropping, kind of show you what we got and how we are printing out another Heavy Construct. So there is the Heavy Construct. We're doing another one. What I ended up doing is splitting it in 2. So yeah, that should be a thing. As a matter of fact, if we go to the share screen, where is that? Right there. And we can take a look-see, and I'll show you what we got going on. So there it is. We've got about 15 hours left. We've got about almost 7.5 hours down. But the preview for this is, yeah, 23 hours and 51 minutes, 297 grams. It's going to cost me a whopping $5.95 for this big baby, which is awesome. And there you can see what we ended up doing is taking the model, and we split it in 2. And so that way we need minimal supports to do that. But again, this whole thing came from a picture and using Maker World. So there it is. So let me see, can we do that so we can kind of get an idea of what it looks like? And there it is in all its glory. And yeah, pretty awesome. So yeah, we've got that going on for us. So anyway, we'll be doing more stuff. Again, I would appreciate it if you'd like the video. If you at least got something out of it, yeah, it gave you something to do. It had something to do in the background, or you saw how, you know, some of these Warhammer models can be a little frustrating at times, but they can be done. Thankfully, this was like 12 years and up, so I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this, but we seem to be doing okay, at least with what we've done so far. So we'll see how the rest goes in a future video. So with that being said, there it is. Yeah, we've got it going on there. You know, little Ghost Ark action, and it is coming along. But we're going to go ahead and close this out. Again, if you want to contact me, I'm Steve, the retired hobby tech guy, American expat living here in Korea. There's my email address, so you can shoot me an email, show me what you're doing. with models, Warhammer, 3D printing, painting, whatever it is, just being a good person or help me be a better person, shoot me an email just to say hi, or suggestions, tips, tricks on how to be better at all this stuff. I got a bunch of people over here that have bought me coffees, so you can do that. There's a link in the description box as well. But the very best thing that you can do, like I said, is like the video. Subscribe to the channel. I mean, that would help me out. That's another hobby I have since I'm an old dog, trying to learn new tricks, and YouTube is one of the things that I'm doing as well. So with that, I'm going to get something to eat. It's late. It is 8:30 at night here in Korea. Wherever you are, have a good one, and we'll see you on the next video, all right? Peace. Good stuff indeed.